Obviously,
You know,
I was about to say it as well. CJ enters Hero was on CJ.
exactly. Hero always on CJ.
Yep.
He went to
Hero.
Root. He went to Root. He went to Triumphant Sun Gaming. I always call him CJ Hero.
Yeah. Well, that's become synonymous with him and how we distinguish him from Liquid Hero.
Exactly.
Speaking of, he's always
who was on
Liquid
Liquid? Yeah, who was on Liquid always until he went to Black Knight.
until he wasn't.
Yeah. Alt will always be CM Storm. Well, yeah, CM Storm. I think Prime is second.
Yeah. I feel like obviously like he was on Prime for a while, but Prime that was also like I think during Wings of Liberty, like that was also before my time. Like I don't associate.
And I mean,
them.
he won like one thing while he was on Prime, or a couple of things while he was on Prime. But when he was on CM Storm, that was when he really distinguished himself as one of the top players.
Prime is one of those weird teams where there were a lot of people on Prime. And it's almost as if like they were a team that propped people up and then they let them go to like prosper on another team, like Maru.
Exactly, like Maru, like Bjorn, exactly.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. And very quickly before I get to the intro, Rain, I'm split between SKT and My Insanity Fam. Here we are on...
I'm SKT.
Alrighty then. I mean, he won GSL when he was in My Insanity, so... but he played Pro League in SKT, so that's also another thing. Here we are on Everdream LE, ideally Edle. We're in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. We do in fact have Blues coming down all the way from the land of Korea. He is the host of the panel representing Cosmos Esports in this X-Splice Derby. We have Sola.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Everdream LE. Speaking of dreams, we did just have like a little bit of a nostalgia trip there, but we've got to bring it back to the current times, to the here and the now. As spawning in the top right corner, we have the Korean Protoss player representing a Freak of Freaks. It is, thank you so much, Maddox. It is Stats.
You say nostalgia, but I wasn't around when these were live.
This is true.
I'm just an historian.
I don't think that's the proper term, but
I
sure.
am an historian.
Like a historian is someone who chronicles things as they happen, not someone who goes back and looks it all up. But
I'm the information centaur.
There you go. That's more accurate. But we are heading into another ZVP. We had a lot of these today. A lot of that came down to us following SOS for the longest time. But Solar was the player to take SOS out. And can Stats bring it back?
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, SOS, not for lack of trying, brought it all the way to the ace match.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty glad that we get to see a different Protoss player showcase their skills.
Yeah, definitely. Like SOS, he was very aggressive. He had a lot of mind games, a lot of like almost metagame style as well. Like he had a lot going for him. But something that he didn't really have going for him was standard. or macro play, I should say. Like Stats, he's someone who's not afraid to like, he doesn't have to go in aggressive. Like, and already like you don't have to go for these like Twilight Council openings with glaives. Say that though, this is Everdream. He's going for it. He's doing it.
That he is. Even getting the having no delay in the Robo facility, getting it immediately once you had the resources. Typically, you see a lot of Protoss players kind of delay it a little bit just to get just to get more units out for safety.
Yeah, definitely. And Stats, he actually got this like fairly early as, I don't know if you noticed, but he went Gateway Cybercore straight into Twilight Council, which means there was a period there where the wall wasn't a wall. There was a huge gaping gap there before that robo was thrown down. So yeah, Stats, like trying to go for this as quickly as possible, and we'll see what he can get done.
I have to imagine that he assimilated a couple of things from Zest. That's how it works, right?
We saw them play similarly. Again, they were teammates for a long time. They still practice together as well. Yeah. So we'll see how Stats' version of this adept pressure shapes up compared to everyone else, because like SOS, he would do this, and of course he would force field the ramp. He would have DTs in there on the ramp as well. Like he had different variants, and oh god, this is a little bit scary.
It is actually very scary. There is no shield battery coming out here. Right at the last second, Stats is able to come in with a probe, but again, a little bit of a delayed reaction, and that was a pretty huge risk that Stats was taking. He is cutting so many corners right now. His game plan is a circle.
I'm gonna just let that sink in.
As in, like, you know, it has to roll. It has to roll, but if it runs into a speed bump, right?
I get it.
Oh no, oh no, I don't think that really... You know what I mean.
No edges at all.
I probably should. I feel like it made sense until I tried to explain it.
Yes, explaining it made it worse. This is correct. It sounds like I'm like, no, yes, I'm with you. And then you're like, oh, this is what I meant. And I'm like, I'm no longer with you.
Phoenix just has said that to me so many times.
God damn it. But yeah, so far, nice multi-pronged attack here. Oh, the Warpism is taking quite a bit of damage, though, in the main base.
It is. This one queen, we're putting in a lot of work. But there was enough beef on this Warpism that it does survive and does eventually get away. And I feel like Stats is just going to get away with a lot of damage thrown out here. Doesn't quite get the queen, but denying the mining time right now for Solar. Meanwhile, the Adepts in the third base are still alive and still denying mining for Solar.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Like 6 workers have gone down and a lot of lost mining time in the main base, in the third base. More Adepts are being morphed in as well. More workers are going down as well. But it looks like finally
Shades.
Solar, he's starting to clean up, and there's still Adepts here in the main.
These Shades, they were... I mean, we were talking about playing similar to Zest, right? But I kind of get a similar sense from this game. Stats knew exactly which Shades to commit to, which not to, and on top of that, kind of knew how to play Solar. Just picking him apart little by little.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Solar, he's down by 10 workers. Again, and a lot of lost mining time throughout the game as well. More workers are being focused down as well.
They are, and these Adepts are still alive, and this is a lot of damage that's being thrown down, and Stats is going to be keeping it up. But one thing to keep in mind is that Stats is very committed to this. I say that, but he has a third base going up. Yeah. Okay, never mind.
I was about to say that a big difference between Stats and Zest and the other Protosses like Zest and SOS is that Stats actually threw down a third base behind this, whereas the other Protosses are usually sticking on 2 bases for a little bit longer. But Solar, he is pushing out across the map, but there are already Sentries and Immortals here. Like, Stats should be fine defensively. He's even getting shield batteries.
Yeah, the shield batteries are a little bit of ways away. These Lings, they are not quite getting the surface area that they want. Beautiful force fields coming down, and the Ravagers will be able to take them out, but is going to be enough thanks to the battery overcharge. Meanwhile, Solar losing so many workers on the other side of the map to those Adepts.
Yeah, and it looks like there it is.
Stats going to take game number 1.
Again, Stats showing that he can be not just the shield of fire, but the sword as well, as he attacks and he defends at the same time. And he had a third base as well as he was defending. Like, he was just all over the place.
It absolutely was. I feel like this is one of those moments, or one of those points that you can really point to. One of those points that you can really point to. No, one of those games that you can point to say that, you know, Stats has switched things up in his play a little bit. He has grown quite a bit as a player. I do not recall Stats really going for this sort of multi-prong and really doing it well. To me, Stats is generally, when he is aggressive, he stands out to me as one of those time attack kind of players, right? He wants to go have one push in one direction and try to spear his opponent. This is different than what I'm used to coming from a Red Protoss player.
Yeah, definitely.
And so we get something a little bit different. It's not too different, but tonight it definitely is. We are now on Eternal Empire, L-E-E-L-E, Ile. where in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning in the top right-hand corner of the map, we have our Blues coming out all the way from Seoul, the Mecca of Esports. We have representing Cosmos Esports as well as, coming in to this X-Splice Bowl. He is the host himself, Sola. Panel.
I feel like you went into that intro with like 3 different angles you wanted to go and take it. You just kind of tried to connect all the dots.
It's like the Three Stooges, they were all trying to go through the door.
Yeah, that's actually the perfect analogy of what just transpired. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Eternal Empire LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Afrika TV, as well as Afrika Freaks. It is Stats.
Boys.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm kind of excited. You know, we're here. We're on Eternal Empire. I so want a longer macro ZVP. I want it. We've been having a lot of shorter games today.
Thanks,
and,
Seth.
Yeah, and if it's gonna happen on any map, it's gonna be on this one.
Yeah, could potentially see. We could even get into that late game that what's it called? That Sky Toss that you have been star for a while, like.
Yeah. Like we've seen a lot of Protosses do it. We've seen Neeb do it, Patty Mac, Probe as well. Especially on this map, like we end up in a split map scenario where we've got Sky Toss against Brood Lords and Festers. It's definitely something that we could see, but again, like especially in Korea, like these players are very aggressive. They
are. And speaking of aggression. And Sky Toss, Stargate being thrown down and hidden, I want to point out.
Yeah, and once again, like if you look at that natural wall, like this is kind of how the meta has shifted. Like, you know, no longer are Protosses prioritizing completely walling off. You know, they're kind of cutting corners. They're just going straight into their tech as soon as possible, and sometimes that gets abused. You know, because you know a Bane bust would be amazing, like against something like this. But other times, you know, you can get away with it, and yeah, Stats going for that Oracle.
Indeed, he is. And that's one way to get damage on a map like Eternal Empire. Just go around the ground, or over the ground.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see if this gets scattered. Like as you were pointing out, like it is pretty well hidden. You know, there is an Overlord, but it's in the natural of Stats. It's got a long way to go before it gets into the main base. So yeah, this could go undetected for quite some time.
I mean, eventually this Oracle is gonna cross paths with this Overlord.
Oh, with the Lings.
That's gonna take a while. But the Lings are here, and they do get a glimpse of it. Yep, Spore Crawler immediately thrown down in the most vulnerable base right now. Stats is gonna come in and doesn't see a lot to take out.
Yeah, and I love how, as a response as well, all the drones get evacuated from that natural base location, but ooh, Stats dives in anyway. Oh god!
And loses the Oracle.
So greedy there, a little bit of miss micro. He dove in and didn't commit, and it was a little bit awkward, but
yeah, I kind of wonder if there was just a bit of an inadequate move command that happened there. Here you see that Oracle turned around right in the last second, and that's how it died.
Yeah, like turned around, then it turned back around. But Stats actually went for a third Oracle.
Huh. Not what I'd have expected. If you told me earlier that SOS and Stats are both gonna play, who's gonna be the one to get more Oracles? Turns out it's gonna be Stats. Although then again, Stats did popularize triple Oracle.
He's getting a fourth. He's getting a fourth Oracle.
ROG. Yeah, he's getting a fourth, but you know, he's just looking to get a nice solid 3 Oracles out.
Yeah.
I have to just assume that Stats is going to stop after this Oracle.
We have to assume. We have to, and it's such a shame, like, Stats' opener was completely disrupted by the fact that he was careless and he lost that first Oracle. Like, would already be established where he wants to be already. But yeah, he's getting another Nexus. He's trying to get his third up and running. Nice he defends against these Lings. We have 22 Lings on the way for Solar.
Yeah, looking to be either very aggressive or maybe he's just sniffed out that that Stats is going to want to go for a quick little push. But nope, it is going to be aggression right now. He is marching on across the map. He knows he can take out this third base. But now that there's a shield battery down, that complicates things quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I don't really know how much damage these things are going to do. Ooh, maybe try and sneak into the natural.
Yeah, if Stats isn't careful, this Adept could go down. And actually, this Cybercore is pretty exposed. There's a lot of surface area to be had here for Solar.
Ooh, yeah, and he gets a nice round on some of these gateway units. Even got a couple of workers, but does end up backing off. And yeah, on the other side of the map, like the Oracles haven't really found too much damage. There's two outside the third here. There's one outside the natural. They're just like waiting for these opportunities to just dive in.
And for now, Solar's not quite giving it to him. In position,
yeah.
Queens.
Yeah, he's got Queens in position. He's got Spores. Again, like Stats, he invested. It's hard because he invested a lot into this, right? In total he made 4 Oracles this game, and not too much damage has been done with them. Oh, almost loses another.
That would have been, as we say in the industry, a bit of an oof.
Yeah, just a little bit. Meanwhile, those Stats, he's starting to move out with his ground army, looking to try and posture and pressure that 4th base.
Yeah. This is a Stats I'm much more familiar with, like.
Yeah.
Straight up push. And, he's got charge already. +1 is gonna be finishing up here. Solar does not really have much. He's got a couple of, okay, he's got a bunch of roaches, but even still, +1 chargelets, they can do pretty well against him.
Yeah, definitely. And Solar, he tries to go for this run by, but there's already some static defense there, so Stats, he is ready for it. And yeah, he's going for this heavy charge lot composition, which, as you were saying, it does work quite well against Roach Ravager. No Banelings or anything like that quite yet for Solar.
Indeed, and I think that's really gonna be what makes or breaks Solar's army. Stats is investing so much into his chargelets, and yeah, I guess we're not going into a neither player's gonna really commit to a push anymore. Just testing the waters, at least Stats was, and realize I can't get much done.
Yeah, and behind this, it's interesting. We have Stats going for Storm, meanwhile Solar going for Spire. I don't know how I feel about Storm against Roach Ravager. Like, it's good against Lings, sure, but I don't know. I feel like it kind of tickles Roach Ravager.
Yeah, but I think that does have its uses. Softens up the roaches quite a little bit, and best case scenario, your Zealots need one less hit to take out the units.
Yeah, definitely. And ooh, nicely done there. Stats almost lost his Oracles as they do activate, and they are trying to deal with those reinforcements in the middle of the map. Actually targeting down the Ravagers. Yeah,
and that is, again, that's something that can compound later on as we get into this game. Does Stats have too many sentries? It's only 2, but even still, or I suppose especially if you only have 2 sentries, you want to be lowering that Ravager count as much as you can.
Yeah, definitely. That's the one thing that's not really going for Solar with his army composition, is that he's really lacking in Ravagers. Like, you need them so much, not just for force fields, but just for that added, like, forcing the Protoss army to maneuver and to move and not attack, right? And have to move away from those biles. But that is because he is spending a lot of his gas on these Mutalisks.
Yep, and the armies are about to be in the middle of the map. Now, these Mutalisks, I feel like they're better off used as a harassment unit. Yeah, we see, even though they took out an Archon, a lot of them have been taken out, and yeah, Stats doesn't really have a lot in his mineral lines. So these Mutalisks can cause a lot of damage, and best case scenario, forces Stats into an all-in.
Yeah, and they're just, it looks like that's what's happening as all the probes in the natural Stats have gone down. These Mutalisks are just dealing so much damage right now, and Stats, he's pushing out into the middle of the map.
That he is. And I guess we're getting a base trade.
Yeah, basically, like, and we'll see how this goes. As Stats, he still has a couple of units here at his third base, so he's able to trade as best he can, trying to take out as many units as he can. He does have a recall, and how much damage is Stats going to get done before he does recall as he's killing a base? And, ooh, I don't know if you noticed, but Solar actually brought a couple of drones all the way across the map. They're in the natural.
He did. He's just waiting to see if he can make use of them. And as you were saying, what damage is Stats doing? Well, he's doing some pretty good damage, but I can tell you, that does not compare to the amount of damage that Solar is doing to him. But I still kind of favor Stats right now. I think he has a much better army.
I agree, especially because he has so many... He does. That's the big thing right now. If he doesn't recall, then that advantage goes in favor of Solar, because I don't think Stats actually has any probes out on the map.
He doesn't. That's a Zealot. And Stats is being a little greedy right now. He wants to get a lot of more damage done.
Is there even enough energy? Okay, there is enough energy for a recall. Is he gonna go for it? Like,
it's being a little indecisive. He does recall a bunch of his units. Is that going to be enough, though? That's a lot of units and a lot of Zealots. Nice storms coming down. And while Stats does storm his own army, it does weaken a lot of these units. But in the end, it seems like Stats has not recalled enough.
Yeah, he left a lot across the map, and there just was enough army there to deal with those Mutalisks. It looks like, there it is.
GG. Solar tying up the series. Sideways 1-1.
GG, and I was not expecting the base trade. I think I agree with you in that it took a long time for Stats to finally recall. To be fair, I don't know if he had enough anti-air to deal with the Mutalisks, even if he did. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Definitely is.
And yeah, like I just love how Solar, he went into this game or into that situation completely prepared for it. Like immediately when he was attacking, he already had drones across the map. He's like, I'm ready. I'm ready to throw down some buildings.
Let's go. Your Nexus? More like my Nexus.
Pretty much.
Our Nexus.
And there were a couple of people asking, a couple of people looking for amateur tournaments. Every Friday we host amateur tournaments, whether it's for bronze to diamond players or bronze to masters. So if you're looking for that,
we do alternate between the two.
That we do.
Week after week. And speaking of alternating, here we are on the Golden Wall. LE. It is held up by the Pillars of Gold, and it protects the Eternal Empire, where the LE submarines are hidden. In the right-hand corner of the map, spawning in the right-hand side of the map, we do in fact have a Blues coming out all the way from the land of Korea. He is representing Cosmos Esports. He is the Khan himself, or I guess the Galaxy, take your pick. We have Solar.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Golden Wall LE, we have the Korean Protoss player representing a Freak of Freaks. It is Stats. Alright, so far, I'm honestly surprised we're seeing Golden Wall this early, but yeah, I'm also pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, the third game in the series, it's, you know, if we get a full 5 games coming out, then it's about in the middle of it. Which, yeah, typically you reserve a map like Golden Wall for either early on, where you're not really taking, where you can afford to take a risk with something cheeky, or you reserve it for last.
Yeah, so it is right here in the middle. It's going to be played regardless of whether it was a 3-0 or not. And yeah, I'm curious to see what these guys have planned on it.
Well, it's just going to the third base. I was waiting for it to go to that golden base. but it never did.
Yeah, like so far no one's taken a gold base, no one's I don't believe anyone started mining out the mineral patches outside the mains, and here we go. So it looks like Stats is going to be going for that Stargate opener once again.
Yeah, you may as well in Golden Wall. Again, it's a very short barrier rush distance into your opponent's main base. But you have to think that Soul's probably preparing for that, or has it in mind.
Yeah, and I honestly, like, it's great that Stats is doing this. I hope if it's Oracles, I hope it's better control than last time. Losing that first Oracle straight away just hurt him so much, and it definitely didn't help with how the game played out.
This is what it all comes down to in the end.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it was an early investment, and nothing really came of it. So once again, he's going for that Oracle. Whether he goes for 3 again or just 2, yet to be determined. What are you feeling? 1, 2, or 3?
Mass Phoenix. No, I think it will probably be 3. Or I don't think it will probably be 3. I just have a feeling it's gonna be 3 because, you know, as you said, the control that Sats had last game was not really the tightest. It was a little bit sloppy. So when you go into the next game like that, you can sometimes you're just thinking, okay, so if I do the same thing, but if I do it better, I'll probably have, you know, it'll probably have a different result, right?
Yeah, and something that's important is that actually Stats was waiting for that lane in his main base to go down before he started production on his second Oracle. So he was waiting for that to leave before he started it, which is pretty interesting. And there it is, 3 Oracles.
There we have it.
And this time, you know, go close. Yeah, he keeps it alive this time. Nice.
I don't think it can take much more.
yeah. Well, I mean, ideally, like you have it back so it doesn't tank any more shots, and some of the others do instead. So it's gonna be all about Stats' control with these Oracles.
Yeah, trying to see what you can dive in and get done. The Queen of Spore once again going to be bleeding these Oracles dry, but keeps them alive, and a 3rd Oracle is on its way. Phoenix coming out behind us.
Oh.
This is going to be that classic lift the Queen and really focus on getting damage done.
Yeah, that could definitely be the case. Or again, just try and clear out some Overlords. Either way, like, the Phoenix is a nice addition, and I love that Stats, he's going for that Southern Nexus, which is quite safe, to say the least.
For the time being, anyway. I'm just looking at this, yep, there it is! Ooh. There it is! Solar mines out the minerals in the middle of the map, and the Lings are going straight for that 3rd base.
Yeah, there are units here in position. Force fields are available, but nicely done here by Solar. He was ready and waiting.
Yeah, the Oracles actually catch that out.
Oh, and some missed force fields. One of the sentries gets exposed, does get taken out by the Lings.
And now with these Oracles out, now with these Oracles back in the south side of the wall, Solar shouldn't be getting too much done, but it's important to keep in mind, Stats did not want these Oracles back at home.
Yeah, he wanted them across the map dealing damage, and Solar was able to force them back home. He even got a sentry for his troubles, and immediately going into that Spire.
You think you're the only one who can do early game air? Guess again, buddy.
Yeah, and we have quite a few Lings here on the south side of the Golden Wall for Solar. I guess looking to see if another expansion gets taken, or just trying to make sure that Stats is honest, at home, defensive. And behind this Stats, you know, he's getting chargeless. Looks like he's getting ready for some Chargel Archon, I imagine. Maybe we'll see Storm being researched.
But for now, he's just content to pick off a couple of drones of his Oracles.
Yeah. So far, Stats has done a really good job at keeping them alive. Like, all 3 of them are still alive. He's managed to kill a couple more drones. We'll see if that continues on. Meanwhile, yep, High Templar are morphed in. Archons are being morphed in. No Storm quite yet, so it is a little bit early. But yeah, we'll see how this game plays out, as the Spire still hasn't been scouted.
Oh, you make a good point there. And that is going to be pretty worrisome. We did see how effective Mulus can really be in the previous game.
Yeah, definitely. Like Archons are great. Like they're great anti-air, but they're also very slow. And again, like
Short
I kind of
range.
yeah. They need to be like already in position, and all these things are trying to break into the natural.
Trying and may or may not be succeeding. Alright, so that's trying to go for his push, but does get deflected.
Yeah, it looks like the lanes won't make their way in, and it's important to note that Solar doesn't have any Ravagers, so these force fields are going to stay up.
Yeah, they are. And I thought for a second that Solar was going to go all in, but no, it just happened that he's been spreading his creep pretty well, so his queens are just looking to continue that.
You're like, oh, the queens are out on the map. It's all
They're
good.
just spreading creep.
Just spreading creep, but 5 more drones went down to those oracles. It's nicely done again by Stats, and yeah, I imagine that he may have spotted the Spire, which is leading to this Phoenix production that Stats has started. He spotted it?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. So yeah, Stats already starting with, and that's the issue with going for Spire against an opponent who started with Stargate, right? Like if it does get spotted, like the option is there for the Protoss to begin that Phoenix production. And oh, interesting. So I don't think Solar committed to any Mutalists. He's going straight into Corruptors.
Yeah, he did not. He knows that the Phoenixes are just gonna take those Mutalists right out of commission. So instead, he's gonna be focused on what's in the air, the Phoenixes, and more importantly, this Warp Prism.
Yeah. We've even seen it earlier today, right? Like with the Warp Prism being sniped, I think it was Armani was able to do that. Is crucial when it comes to like ending the aggression or ending pushes from Protoss players. So we may see that come into play. Storm should finish up relatively soon, but Solar, he's maxed out, he's ready to push.
And push he will. He's about to shove.
Yeah, and Storm just finished up, so it will be available here for Stats, but oh boy.
I think Solar heard you talking about his Ravager count earlier. That is a lot of them. The Storms do come in and mostly acting as a bit of zoning right now for Stats. But not much is done behind that. Another couple of Biles do manage to connect on a decent number of units. But for the most part, Stats' army is still standing strong.
Yeah, Stats holds 4 now, but he's running out of energy. I think he has a couple of Storms left in him, a couple more force fields as well.
3, I want to say.
Yeah.
Okay, he's gotta make those count. Solar is really asserting himself, but Stats is slowly evening up the army supply. And he's got the right units as well. He's got the Archon, he's got his, or rather the Archon to deal with the Lings, he's got the Immortals to deal with the Roaches. Stats is really pushing back, but he cannot overextend himself.
Yeah, what's important is that the base just finished up and he does have some shield batteries to support his army, even activating that overcharge as well. So defensively, now that the Nexus is situated, like I think Stats is going to be doing fine.
I definitely think so as well. And Stats is really just asserting himself forward. Look at that, even storming on top of the Graviton units.
But you were talking about overextending, like all the buffer is gone, the Immortals are starting to fall as well, the reinforcements are here, and again, the Immortals, they're being targeted down.
They are, but they are still alive. These shield batteries are unpowered, and that is so rough right now.
Oh my god.
But on the other side of the map, the Zealots come in.
Yeah, the Zealots are dealing a lot of damage, and it looks like, with the reinforcements, Stats just has enough to push the army away.
And then some. Again, these are +2, if I'm not wrong, +2 Zealots. And they pack quite a number of hurtin'. So while Stats' immortal count has just about been reset, it's not looking too bad, to say the least.
Yeah, like that was actually really close. Like it was, Solar was so close to breaking Stats. I think a lot of that did come down to the unfortunate fact that pylon got sniped, so like the shield batteries were depowered, so they couldn't support the units of Stats, but he did manage to repower them. He has reestablished himself. He has a couple of more Immortals. He has some force fields as well. There's one more Ravager. Oh, okay, no, they're all morphed in.
Here comes the big fight, and I kind of feel like Stats may have just bled out a bit too much in that previous engagement. As Solar, we see him remaxing right now. Despite the economic damage that he did take earlier on, he still has enough to really push his way in, but Stats is looking... Okay, he made use of that shield battery overcharge, but that's about it. GG is called. Stats actually taking that game. Stats taking that game?
Yeah, he had just enough there, and as you were saying earlier, those zealots were able to shut down the economy of two of the bases to the north of Solar, and yeah, like Stats, he completely destroyed the army to the right, and there was only a handful of Verge Ravager coming in around the mineral line, so with the amount of Immortals alive, Stats, he holds strong.
That he does. The shield is alive.
Yeah. There's a reason why they call him the Shield of Iron. Defensively, Stats is just like the best of the best, really, when it comes to Protoss players. And yeah, he does. That he is. Well, he may have already surpassed Rain or what he was.
I think he took that title a long time ago. Yeah, and possibly, possibly for whatchamacallit, surpass that, as you said. But. You know, it's, whatchamacallit, I'm not gonna accept it yet.
Yeah, as we are heading into game number 4, we are on match point, right?
We are on match point for Stats. And this could either be a quick win for Solar or a quick win for Stats.
I'm very surprised that this map did not get vetoed.
You and me both. And speaking of vetoed, here we are then, spawning in onto the map that is located within the Eternal Empire, which is guarded by the Golden Wall, held up by the Pillars of Gold. We all live in an LE submarine. An LE submarine. We're in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner of the map. We do in fact have a blue Zerg player coming down all the way from the land of Korea. He is the once from the galaxy, now going to be representing Cosmos Esports. We have Solar.
And before I get into this, did you see Dali's message 10 minutes ago?
I did not.
Okay. It was about in-game music.
Right.
And speaking of in-game music, as I try to drag this out a little bit longer, we have spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Submarine LE. Again, I'm so surprised this made it through the vetoes, but it did. We have the South Korean Protoss player representing Afrika Freaks. It is Stats.
Okay, let us know how this setting is at.
There we go, and yeah, we're here. We're on Submarine again. This is where we started. Is this where we're going to end? We'll see. I mean,
Would be a little poetic, but
it would. I guess really the shield is going to be put to the test. You know, a couple of people were mentioning it. Stats. He is Nick Fury. He is the Shield of Ire.
He is the executive director, president of Shield.
He is the head of Shield, the best of the best, really. And is he going to be able to hold on to the aggression coming out from Solar?
Well, we'll have to see how aggressive Solar really will be. He is investing in his metabolic boost. He's making a lot of links, but that doesn't mean he has to push out. You know,
he's making a lot of links.
You don't have to really making a lot of links does not mean that he has to be pushing out.
Yeah, and I'm so concerned right now for Stats because he actually went. I was talking about this.
He got corners again.
Yeah, he did. He's a circle.
I mean, a shield is a circle usually.
Yeah, shield can't have edges, but he did cut corners. You know, Warp Gate isn't done yet. Lings are flooding across the map right now. 10 more Lings on the way. Warp Gate needs to finish up. Shield batteries need to be thrown down. Stats, he has no idea. Like he's oh god.
Alrighty then, I think we may just see a very quick ace match coming along, but Stats is doing his due diligence. He does have a probe already in place. Does get that second wall up, so it all hinges right now. If he can hold this aggression coming up from Solar, he might be able to take this entire series.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I love that force field. He needs to make sure that Warp Gate finishes, and it looks like it will. And there is that secondary wall.
They have it.
Like
oh, I think that's it.
He knows he can't break it. He knows he can't bust through.
He knows he's up against the shield. Either that or he's just taunting Stats right now. Look at that battery overcharge. That shield battery finished up right on time. But this is still putting Stats really to the test. Never mind. Okay. And I'm glad we fixed the sound settings for that game.
There we go. GG, well played. Solar, one of many Zerg players who's like, you know what? I'm gonna, you know, they call you the Shield of Fire, but I'm gonna put that to the test. He tried it, and Stats once again proving that there's a reason why he has that nickname.
Exactly. It's, yeah. I mean, I think this is what you were, to go into that, I think we did actually mention that a couple of times in the past, where sometimes you just have to think, what are these Zerg players thinking, right? Being, you know, trying to test the defensive stats and whatnot. And to be fair, every now and then, you do have a Zerg player who's able to crack that shield. It's just not likely that it's gonna happen that much.
Yeah, definitely. Like, everyone knows what he's known for, but you know, every now and then you want to be like, oh, you know, maybe I can make something work. And Solar, he tried it. There was definitely an opportunity there, but Stats, that was beautiful.
Yeah, like, you gotta think, you know, someone like Stats, he can't have perfect defense all the time, right? He's gonna have to give it up. Like, one day he's gonna get unlucky, so you might want to take your chances there, especially on a map like Submarine.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, it's also like maybe even too obvious, right? Like on a map like Submarine, you know, like you go into it, everyone's aware of the short rush distance. Like they are, but I think that Stats, again, he was cutting those corners there. He was a circle. So I think Solar might have come the closest to really breaking Stats, especially on Submarine. Stats had a bit of a delayed reaction there, but once he identified how Solar was playing, he went straight on. He put his foot on the pedal. I just need to defend against this, and I'll be safe. I feel like this is the beginning of something that we're gonna just that we're just gonna overuse and just
gonna lose all its
into the ground. Yeah, but it's gonna happen. It's one of those things.
It's gonna have to. Yeah, I mean, you know, we needed a fresh meme coming up here. The people were starved, light.
Oh boy. GG, well played. That was a best of 5, and Stats takes it 3-1. And yeah, he puts this isn't his first ESL win, is it?
It is not. I believe it's his second or his third.
There we go. You know, he's slowly catching up.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically that meme of Stats and not Stats, Solar and Zest are both fighting each other. Zest is just in the background, waiting. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, that was just really well played by everyone involved. It was really nice to see SOS again. That was the second time he played in this weekly, so it was nice to catch him.
Really nice to see Oreo back.
Yeah, I was about to say that as well. It's cool to see again the Southeast Asian and the Oceanic players come in. You know, Oreo, Probe, Demi. It's really cool to see everyone compete. I hope that we see more of them here in these tournaments, because typically they're kind of confined to the region-only tournaments, whether they're like ESL Open Cup fueled by Dare or GPO. Like, that's kind of what they've been sticking to. But it's really cool to see them, you know, slowly branching out and playing in tournaments like this as well.
It's, if nothing else, it's good practice.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's really cool to see. Again, Pez, he subbed earlier. Shout out to Pez. I hope to see Pez playing this as well. And some of the other guys, you know, like Azure, Hut, Seether, right? Like I know, you know, they're probably busy playing Tarkov right now, but StarCraft as well, right? Like, come on, guys.
You do both. All right. Well, I'm gonna try to wrap this up soon, as I really need to go to the bathroom. Tune in tomorrow. We will start at the same time, 6 p.m. KST, for ESL Open Cup fueled by Dare. You can also follow the CranKy Ducklings on all of our social medias, linked, or not linked, but shown over here underneath our nice little schedule graphic. Thank you once again, Kuro, for throwing this together.
Yeah. There you can see our graphic. We're live almost every single day. We've got plenty of StarCraft, whether it's Korean StarCraft here on Mondays, Tuesdays. We have. Oh,
I just want to point out we will not be live this Thursday with NA Contender. Forgot to remove that.
Yeah. So NA Contender, for those wondering, did finish last week as we had the finals of the season. So Thursday will be a day off, as normally we're live on Thursdays. Wednesday is also a day off, but Tuesday, then Friday, weekend is pretty packed full of StarCraft. So if you do want to tune into that, hit that follow button. You know, follow the channel. We've got plenty of StarCraft here. And yeah, let other people know, you know, like we're still a relatively new channel, relatively niche. You know, a lot of people aren't aware of us, but you know, we're live pretty consistently, and yeah, give us a shot.
Do that. And with that, I think that is, where can we find you, Light?
Light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. I do stream occasionally. You can also follow me on social media when I go live. What about you?
Twitch.tv/Yakuzaku1. I may or may not stream this week, depends on how I'm feeling, and also the game that I stream depends on how I'm feeling there. As I kind of want to get into that Command and Conquer that a lot of people are talking about, but we'll see. Twitter.com @Empora Yakuzaku, exclamation mark Discord. You can find me and the other members of CranKy there. We are all around. Other than that, buy my shirts.
Stay tuned as we will be rating another StarCraft 2 streamer. Other than that, GG, have fun.
See you guys tomorrow.